Little Rock, Arkansas. To the Confederate women of Arkansas, whose pious ministrations to our wounded soldiers soothed the last hours of those who died for the object of their tenderest love, whose domestic labors contributed much to supply the wants of our defenders in the field, whose jealous faith in our cause shone a guiding star, undimmed by the darkest clouds of war, whose fortitude sustained them all, under all the privations which they were subjected, and whose patriotism will teach their sons to emulate the deeds of their sires. Confederate States. There's always a parallel. Everything that happened keeps happening over and over and over until we get it right within. The division of the states, the Civil War. The winners of the wars always tell the story, but you find little pieces of the real story in each separate place. I love this. The Medal of Honor. The Medal of Honor is the highest award that can be received by a member of the Armed Forces of the United States of America. It is given by the President, in the name of Congress, to an individual who, while serving in the armed forces, distinguished themselves for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action at the risk of life above and beyond the call of duty, while engaged in action against an enemy of the United States. This distinguished honor roll includes only a few thousand of the millions of men and women who have served their country in times of war. The names of honor roll include generals and privates, soldiers and sailors, Marines and airmen, Americans of every color and creed, from every background of life and every state in the Union, as a symbol of heroism. It has no equal in American life. Therefore, we dedicate this monument to those brave Arkansans who gave their all so that we, the living, can enjoy the freedom they endowed to us. Nikki Bacon. Travis Watkins. James Stone. Herbert Littleton. Charles Gilliland. Gilbert Collier. Lloyd Berkey. Jack Williams. Wilson Watson. William Thomas. Seymour Terry. And these physical people, there's 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, there's a lot more actually. But these people and all of these physical things that have happened are mirrors. And if we could see stuff in truth, see, killed in action. So many were killed in action. In God's kingdom, the heroes who were killed in action have been made to look like criminals. They're beat down, they're drugged, they're abused. But the virus looks like all kinds of different things. It masks itself behind every title and makes itself look righteous. And each title would think that they are not it, that it's someone else, that it's the other side, when it's both. We are always half right and half wrong. We've reached the point in history where we are at the peaks of all things, good and bad. That was the cycle. And now it's all been made manifest in all the places that count. And there are a lot of, those Medal of Honors. There are a lot of people that should have those medals of honor that don't. naturopathic doctors slaughtered trying to share life-saving information, slaughtered by corrupt systems. People enslaved by every kind of system. And so many people don't remember their names. At least these veterans can be remembered and honored. But just know, for every one that is seen in the visible wars, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of unnamed people who have suffered for our freedom, trying to free us from the virus. And so many people didn't make it. You want to understand right now what is happening, what has happened? All you got to do is go back to the beginning. The Word tells us exactly what's happened. Just know that place the systems in the title, interchange them. Adam, the Jews. Eve, Christianity. What about the Christianity of kids? Kids are killing the brothers. Who's the brother in the world? Which systems? Who just slew the brother, the system? Why? Well, the hunter, the one working in the field, they didn't like the hunter. It was different than them, so it was wrong. Because they couldn't see how wrong they were. Something different than them had to be wrong. Just keep following the story. A day is as 1,000 years. First 4 days for the Jews. Second 2 days for the Christianity. Twice as fierce. It had to balance the thing that was. And the same thing that happened at the bridge between Jews and Christianity, Christians did the same. Everybody wants to be the man. The man wasn't there for the woman, so the woman had to become a man. Fierce, double-minded, twice as furious during her 2 days. They are the governors and tutors. There's been different brackets of people. The heavens and the earth. There are levels. And people not understanding that do all kinds of damaging things. And you know what? The church ate the fruit of good and evil. The fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The church ate it up. They were built upon it. Look at what they have. We're judged by what we have. They didn't bring their best offering. They kept the good fruit. They gave God the bruised fruit. Enoch, Nephilim. What are the Nephilim? Who are the giants? Who are the people that have taken the kingdom by force? One would say it's the other. You're both right. Because you're both the beast. You're both the Messiah. But you're neither, because you're both. When the two become one within something else, the kingdom is there. The veil in the temple was torn. Oh. How did Cain die? His stone house caved in on him, and someone else accidentally killed him from afar. Oh, funny that there's two stories, because they're different layers of the same thing. We see everything one-sided because we are split and operate from one of two sides, rather than being whole and healed and full and balanced. Who's right? Well, in a sense, you're both right. The parts that are good are really, really, really good. The pinnacle of goodness. So then who's wrong? You both are. Because the parts that are wrong are really, really, really wrong. The peak of both. So you're both right, but you're both wrong. But, so you're both half truth, half lie. Okay, half a lie is still a lie. Half truths are no truths at all, though they cover truths. So each one has a covering, and that is the wickedness that masks itself as good. That is those who taste and partook of the forbidden fruit. And God built them up so that we could take them down. The virus has hijacked every movement, has slaughtered. I mean, you don't even need to go into the repeated babbling of all the heinous things. Each half is the virus. If it's not the narrow ridge, which can tap into both extremes in the right way, because there's two sides to both extremes too. What one would call darkness is a range of being, and since that range of being isn't harnessed, the other half of that would be the darkness, the real wickedness. Because not all darkness is wicked. Within the light, the devil comes as an angel of light, masquerading as an angel of light. How great is that darkness? This network behind the scenes, who have hacked and manipulated everything, are terrorists. They are terrorists to the kingdom of heaven. They are terrorists to this country. They're the great abomination of desolation, and it spans many brackets. There's so many sides playing each other and fighting each other. Nobody knows who's who anymore. I keep remembering little things people have said. Like, oh, you can't, like, you can't play both sides. We're not playing both sides. Both sides of what? There's one side to me. That's God's. I wasn't brought up in any of these houses. I wasn't brought up and initiated in any of these games. I do not stand for any title than the body. And if part of you resonates with the part of me that speaks about God, that's the part that's half right. And if part of you is triggered and disagrees, that's the part that's lacking the truth. And law is law. And people who break laws face the punishment of that. So, vengeance is God's. We do not have to take vengeance upon people, but I'm not saying that each person can choose anything they want. And there is what the Old Testament says and there is what the New Testament says. But whoever is innocent should cast the first stone, because every side is guilty. Every side is fragmented. Every side is everything balances itself. We get one-sided, we break free from the restrictions of our mind in some way, and then because it's unbalanced, the opposite has to be born. Has to come into being. It has to keep being until the right thing is balanced. And the right thing won't have private property in the ways that we have now. Not saying that it can be completely normal and free with the way things are, but it won't be. People think God's going to save them. God's going to, justify them? You know whose side I pick? Neither. Do you know who has good perspective that I see? Both. Do I look at the fruit of the trees or do I look at the tree? The tree. Bad trees like to look at the fruit that is a symptom of their not being balanced, of their wrongdoings. Those systems will want to create all kinds of timelines to get you in fear states, to get you doing negative things. This virus has robbed us blind, has sucked the life out of us. And God will use the established things to correct things. God has judges that do things behind the scenes, but it doesn't matter. But us, we cannot accept lesser titles. God is going to judge the systems. You know what? All people are victims of the systems. And the ungodly systems that have hacked the normal systems, they are going to be judged. And stuff will be recalibrated in normal ways. It won't feel normal, but it'll be according to the rules. God is a God of law. And reaping and sowing, God tests. And some people are so quick to judge and pretend that they got it all figured out. You know what? I don't have it all figured out, but when I read the Word, it clearly shows me the state of what is happening in the world. So I know it's coming. And God is going to free us by judging the systems, the virus that has hacked the established systems. All of the most of the seals have happened already. We've already had famines. We've already had plagues. And we're so beat down that we accepted them as normal. We normalized deficiency. Everything mirrors those 7 days in 1 week. We're in the womb of spiritual birth. And people are waiting for some great light. People think God stands with them and for them and doesn't know what is hidden. It's bad enough to blaspheme the Father or the Son, but blaspheming the Spirit and partaking of the fruit of good and evil, looking good while doing evil. How far you've fallen, Lucifer, son of the morning. The greater light to rule the day, the lesser light to rule the night. Try viewing the systems in the stories in the beginning, and you will see what is happening. Watch the YouTube channel, Called Out Believers, I believe his name is. Search like Bible prophecy revealed in Genesis or Torah. Lots of good stuff. The Bible tells you what is, what has been. I've been violated and done dirty by both systems, as everybody has suffered from those systems. Do you know what I don't forgive? The parts of each system that are not grounded in truth. You know what I do forgive? Any person who didn't know and did. I think you're waiting for someone else, something else. Learn from what is. Learn from what you see.
Put the darkness under your feet. Depart from me, you workers of iniquity. I never knew you. You thought you knew me, but I never knew you. You know who my brothers and sisters are? People. You know, I'm unable to flow with people the way that I would even like to. The virus in the systems. What else is that? Forbidden fruit. Oh, there's so many parables. But what's funny is that they've both done it. Kudos to every person who played their part, whatever it is, whatever information they had. Well done. Anything that we had to do was because of the injustice, because of the things that were wrong. These are soldiers being viewed as enemies within, while the enemy controls. God's long-suffering, that none should perish, that everybody should come unto repentance. That doesn't change if people have been playing these games and committing domestic terrorism, that they're not guilty of terrorism. And God has established governments for a reason. Grace doesn't override law. You're just free from the law when you're established in it. Then you can operate from grace by choice within the person. See, the law is for the system. Grace is for the people. Be the body, be the people. Little Rock. It's a good place to throw the little rock. Just lose the giants. Arkansas. You saw the ark? Ark and saw. Like the Ark of the Covenant? Like the Ark of the New Covenant. Which says anything that I do, knowing that that harm is possible, probable, and then I do it to others, that I can receive that. Okay, there's a not knowing part. Anybody that would restrict that information or has built anything in any way that led to the point that it's restricted now, that's where judgment comes. God winks at people's ignorance. There is forgiveness for all people. They get the information they choose. People choose right with the right information. It's not a problem with the people, it's a problem with the things restricting the information. Systems, not so much. I accept no man-made systems that resemble God, but lack the fullness therein. But those systems are critical to the better thing. There's nothing left for me to do. There's the truth. They're playing you from within. The virus mimics you and plays you from within. And you become the virus and mimic others. The part of you that would invade and mimic someone else in any way is the virus. So though all these titles are separate things, none of them undo the effects of other ones. This country has a title. This country has laws. These states have laws. And God has ordained governments. And all of the systems just play you. All of these religious systems play you with good intentions and cause harm. I highly recommend searching Called Out Believers YouTube. Their stuff is very good. He tells the beginning from the end. It's all been. It's all already been. Except the judgment of the systems. And what happens after that is up to everybody. You know, it can just be done. We can just face the reality that it is very messed up. And then just do whatever it takes to make all people free and to make things level and true. You're not waiting for God. God's waiting for you. In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. The truth will set you free, and you'll overcome by your testimony and the blood of the Lamb, whom you have both crucified. You take orders. You don't think for yourselves. It's not saying don't obey rules. The rules are to bring freedom of the whole. The rules should protect our freedoms. We should have the most possible freedoms without intruding upon the freedoms of others. And it's a fuzzy line, because everything's not black and white. Nothing fits into the brackets of the titles the way that we like. Preach God, you know, Jesus, he says, I am the way, the truth, the light. So stop saying Jesus. Say way, truth, light. Replace it with one of those. Truth is a good one. When you teach, replace Jesus with truth. And let's see if what you're teaching makes sense. Because with Jesus it does. anything to do with the darkness in any of your systems. Not only have I been persecuted because people thought I was you, then persecuted by you. Trying to what? Control? Nudge? Create? Like, traumatizing people and working in the dark is not okay for God's kingdom. Be sure that he recognizes God's kingdom actually is. And do whatever the next right thing is for you. I got nothing for you. I've given my testimony. I've shared, laid it all down, trying to help you all. And look where it's got me. I've never played sides, except for I don't play sides. I'm for truth. I'm for God. God has everything established. And we keep being prisoners until we put darkness under our feet. And that's the darkness within our houses, our systems, these religious systems, whatever systems. Nothing should ever have to be hidden. But sometimes things gotta mirror and become like what is in order to overcome what is. Stand for truth and be free. Be double-minded and play games, then you get played. And judgments boomerang back. I don't claim to be a saint. I do know that I gave everything trying to help. And the more that I tried to help, the more that the world makes you look like the enemy, makes you look like the criminal, beats you up for it. And the more that I see, like God says, the more that I see that God's children are abused by every system. And that the virus has infected us on every level. You're all my brothers and sisters, unless you're part of some title that's double-minded and full of darkness. And if you're part of anything that has hidden darkness, self-destruct. Go fuck yourself. Everybody wants to be the man and fucks everybody. But you know what? You're both God's bitch. I'm God's bitch. Everything in creation is God's. Forgive the language, not trying to be crude, but you have to... I understand better when stuff is blunt. I listen better when I hear things the way that I say them. Puts my spirit at attention. Like a general at war. It zaps you into place. And that only has to be because of the wrongness that is. When we get it right within our networks, everybody becomes free. I've never chosen sides. I've never been anything different than what I've plainly said. should be ashamed of yourself. See things through the context of us being God's children in the body, and the systems being half wrong and causing us to not see ourselves as us, and hacks everything. Don't cater to the lies and hidden garbage. Everything hidden is going to become manifested, and you'll see who's naked, who's already naked, and you'll see who's clothed. No one's coming to save you. The best way to save yourself is not become, to change the darkness within, the wickedness, the hidden parts. It's not that you're changing, you're just leaving behind what doesn't fit. It's our greatest restriction to better things. Ye must be born again. God's fire is coming for the houses. The people have already been under the fire from those hidden things. Without us not knowing and understanding and being passive, they don't have power over us. Everything in these buildings is by the people and for the people. And if something doesn't work, it's not the systems. It's we haven't fixed something yet. And once something becomes fragmented, once things start, they can't really be controlled. And you know, a teacher shouldn't try teaching you something specific. They should try undoing the ways that you think. They should try getting you to come to your own conclusions. Sharing their opinions and testimonies. If someone can't share their testimony, the truth, the ugly stuff, they are not God's children. Not that they're not capable of being. Just means that they're infected with the virus and they mock God. And a lot of them don't even know it. And we've mocked God and not even known it. And the blood of the innocent has cried out for too long. The kingdom truly is at hand. It's all of the people's job to either expose the systems that are covered in darkness or to destroy them. We just destroy lies with truth, and it's all done. There's no more from me till darkness is under our feet. Notice there's always two peaks, and then the one really, really big peak in the middle. The truth is king. Is that narrow ridge over the high peak in between two extremes. See the part God could see from the peak at the top? That's the half that's right. All mirrors. It's funny, the Capitol and the Veterans Park is right in between 6th and 7th Avenue
And the Red and Blue Event Center right next door. And the American Legion. And the Victory buildings between 6th and 7th. The News between 6th and 7th. Interesting. Oh, look at all the banks. All the banks are in between 6th and 7th. Blue Cross Blue Shield. These big banking gurus. I wonder if that's common. Fire station, general offices. Huh. Oh look, Wright Avenue is on 1800. Like, you're 18, you grow up when you get it right. God speaks through matter. Too bad everybody gets the filtered light. Merry Christmas. Freely give as you've been given. People see this as beautiful. I see it as heinous in contrast to everything else that I see.